You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Yesterday, President Biden met with civil rights groups. And, of course, while he was doing that, Vice President Kamala Harris was visiting Howard University talking about how voting suppression is happening all across this country. The Democrats also announced they're going to spend $25 million to combat Republicans on voting requirements. That seemed to upset Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. During an interview on Fox News, Kemp defended the state's, voter suppression laws by responding directly to Vice President Kamala Harris. Here's this weasel.
Hey, we got to fight like hell. That's what I've been telling people. We have the truth on our side. Now the vice president's lying like the president has been about Georgia's law. We actually add the amount of days that people can vote early on the weekends in the state of Georgia. We've got many more opportunities for people to vote early than President Biden's own state of Delaware and a lot of other states where the Democrats are in control. They're just not being truthful to people. And listen, this is just part of their playbook. Their legislation failed at Congress to have a federal takeover of elections, which is unconstitutional. Now they have the Department of Justice when we have, violent crime, killings in major cities all over the country, a crisis at the border. And the fight they're picking is suing us over our Elections Integrity Act. And they realize now after the Arizona ruling, that's not going to work. So now they're moving to the Democratic Party at the national level, trying to spend $25 million to cancel us. But my message is, look, we're going to stand up and fight. We have the truth on our side, but you need to be aware. They're going to try to cancel you. They're going to try to boycott your business, move your ball game, just like they did the All-Star game in Georgia. They're going to come after your way of life. This isn't a fight just in Georgia. This is a nationwide fight. It is one worth fighting, and that is what I'm going to continue to do.
And that was a whole bunch of lying right there by Brian Kemp. We all know that's a trash bill. He knows it. We know it. And so it's simple as that. Joining me now is Melanie Campbell, President and CEO, National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. Dr. Johnetta Cole, National Chair of the National Council of Negro Women. Both of them were at the meeting yesterday with President Biden. That meeting went a little longer than expected. Dr. Cole, how committed is this president to going around the country speaking on the issue of voter suppression and voting laws?
My pleasure to respond to you, Professor Brother Roland Martin. Indeed, yesterday, the legacy civil rights organizations were convened by the president and the vice president of our country. We expected to be in the Roosevelt Room for 1 hour. It was easily 1 hour and 30, maybe 40 minutes. What we were able to communicate to our top political leaders is that in the Black communities where we are invested large, where we work, where we live, enough is enough. Voter suppression, which is being run in cynical, but unfortunately effective ways by the Republican Party, and this is not a partisan issue. This is the fact. This sounds like, feels like, smells like the kind of voter suppression that I experienced growing up in the Jim Crow South. Yes, Jim Crow got all dressed up, cleaned up, in a nice three-piece suit while she's in a St. John. But this is the same voter suppression that has haunted Black people almost since we got here. In the old days, I'll tell you what happened when you decided to vote in your interests, when you decided that indeed it is your right to vote. You know, in some situations, people were literally lynched. That's what happened when Black people tried to vote. Or there were those silly games like, you know, come over here and read this passage of the Constitution and interpret it for me in 5 minutes. Here's a bowl of, I don't know what it is, marbles. Tell me before you go in to vote, how many marbles are in that bowl? And so the 8 civil rights legacy organizations have said enough is enough. And I am beyond grateful for the joy and the privilege of working with my sister leader, Melanie Campbell, as Black women move into a week of action.
Melanie, we had Cliff Albright on yesterday with Black Voters Matter, the co-founder, and he says this administration has to do more. He said the president has to step up and do more. What did he commit to do?
Give a shout out to being on here with our Dr. Leader, Dr. Johnetta Cole. And it's an honor to always have this opportunity to be with her and be out here fighting the fight for and with our people. Yesterday, what he really committed to doing, if I say commitment, is really to use that bully pulpit more. I think he heard us. That was we were very focused around that, but also looking at what else can they do? Can they do more when it comes to the court system? Right now, we don't think so after what happened last week with the Supreme Court decision that has really impacted adversely the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. But also, what can they do when it comes to executive action and get out here and show the sense of urgency. Presidents go out and they sell what they want, what they need to sell if they can't get the Congress to move. So both President Biden as well as Vice President Harris, I think they heard that. I think part of what I can't say with 100%, but I think a lot of what we had to say with him maybe have had an impact on him being able to make this speech on Tuesday and use that bully pulpit, because it's a powerful tool to use, and you can do some great things from that pulpit, from that pulpit, but from that bully pulpit, but also some really horrific things that we know we continue to live through. So I think that was very, very important, and the sense of urgency, I think we left there with them. If it wasn't there, I think it's more there now.
Dr. Cole, so what is next? I mean, what should the public be doing? What should the folks watching and the people who are members of these various organizations?
What the public should be doing is listening carefully to leaders in the 8 legacy organizations as we make the call for action. I'm going to turn it back to my sister leader, Melanie, to talk more specifically. But let me just say from my perspective, again, growing up in the Jim Crow South, everything that we have gained as a result of action. And so what you will see in the coming days throughout the summer will be action in defense of our right to vote, which is at the center of American democracy. We're not just using words loosely. We're talking about a democracy under assault. That is the correct description when people, based on the color of their skin, are being systematically prevented from voting. Sister Mel, if the brother professor is willing, maybe you would tell us more specifically what we've got planned.
And I want to make sure I'm clear. It's not that we're saying it's time to act. It's time to keep acting. Organizing is going on. Cliff and Latasha, I was out there with them on that freedom ride a couple weeks ago. So it's about continuing to put the street heat out here and to make sure that we set the alarm bells for our community and others to know that this democracy, as Dr. Cole said, is under attack. And our vote, when it comes to the reality of what we're up against, if we don't see federal voting rights enacted in this country by August, quite frankly, Roland, because of the redistricting, then the idea of people say autocracy versus democracy, it will be that with what we've seen happen already with these 48 states, in your home state of Texas, the fight is on down there, right? But at the end of the day, one of the things that's really important is that we know that we can't go to the court, the system, the Supreme Court. Just let us know where they stand. We have to have legislation, and we have to have it now, because if the redistricting is done with the same attacks that are on our vote with voter suppression laws, we're going to see the same problem, not just from the top when it comes to the Congress, all the way down to the school board. So that's one. So next week, what we're doing with Dr. Cole and I and others, Black Voters Matter, Fair Fight Action, Power Rising, Black women, we came together, A. Philip Randolph Institute, AFL, Democracy Initiative, and many others, Urban League and others. We're coming together for the Black Women and Allies Week of Action, and that will culminate on Thursday on Capitol Hill. So we're going to use social media. We're going to have a call-in day, asking people to Roland, we need your help. Not putting you on the spot, but we do need your help to help us get that word out. The Senate will be back. The House won't be in, but the Senate. What we're saying is we have to be in the states every time they go home. We have to be out there making sure that they feel us. When they come back on Capitol Hill, they have to feel the presence, and we have to keep this on the front burner. So we're having this call to action starting on Monday with a social media day to start getting the word out. And folks to understand, we're going to have a town hall virtually, and then we're going to have a day of action call in. We want to break the switchboard, calling and telling those folks we want to see them pass the For the People Act post haste. And then on Thursday, we're going on Capitol Hill, and we're going to have a day of action. We're going to attempt to meet with senators. We're going to have some direct action on other things, a rally, and really show our presence for that week. And then I know that the following day is going to be either the leadership conference is having something, because it'll be a 1-year anniversary from the passing of John Lewis. So we're going to get in some good trouble, if you will, in the name of Congress, of our brother, the late Congressman John Lewis. And we have to keep the pressure on. We have to, so the meeting that we had, the mobilizations that have already been had, and we're trying to come together across generations, if you will. We have Tamika Mallory and others, Bernice King and others. It's just trying to get all of us together to, one, support each other's mobilization. So the whole idea of a summer of action is not one group, but it's all of us supporting each other and coming up with ways to keep the pressure on. And minimally, if they don't do right, our people will be mobilized and understand what's at stake. And in what they're doing to try to impact us will roll right on over and impact others. Every time they try to do something to hurt us, we know historically it will hurt them. But unfortunately, it will hurt us more.
But the issue here, Dr. Cole, is simple. There are 2 senators who've made it clear that they are not going to end the filibuster. And so the question is, this pressure, is it going to be targeting Sinema and Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema of Arizona, Joe Manchin of West Virginia? I mean, the arguments that Melanie laid out, we have made, we have heard, numerous people have said it, but the reality is this here. There are 2 Democratic senators who are refusing to end the filibuster. That's why the For the People Act and the Voting Rights Act has not being passed. All of that hoopla about Joe Manchin having a Voting Rights Act compromise, that died when they couldn't break the filibuster. He keeps hollering bipartisanship. She keeps saying bipartisanship. They can't find 10 Republicans. So, all right, what now?
You're so right. Let's just use simple arithmetic. We don't even have to call it mathematics. We need every Democrat, I mean every, to stand up and speak out and vote in the interests of the people. We know that historically, this filibuster has been used to stop issues being passed, acts being passed that are in the interest of the people. And so I'm not going to sit here, Brother Professor Roland, and act as if this is just a little challenge. You know, we can do the arithmetic and we can convince some more Democrats and maybe even a few Republicans. This is a serious challenge. And one of the things that I liked so much about our time yesterday with the president and the vice president of our country is that they had a spirit of realism, not optimism. Because when you do the simple math, it's hard to call it optimism. But realism says that there are still ways that we can get legislative action. Because if we can't, then we have to ask, what happened to our democracy?
Melanie, final comment.
I would say, Roland, one of the things that we continue to speak out about is reforming the filibuster. That we put that out there, and we will. That's part of the message too. I mean, and it's not about. I don't know that we can convince 10 Republicans. I participated in these meetings.
First of all, the answer is no. Okay, I mean, I'm sorry. The answer is no.
That's fine. But I can tell you this, brother, you know it. We're not going to sit on the sidelines. We got to keep pushing and fighting. It's like that's the bottom line.
But on the fight,
pressure.
But on the fight, did y'all press President Biden to put more pressure on Sinema and Manchin?
Okay, of course we did, Roland. Anybody that needs to be put pressure on, whether it's Democrat or Republican, we get that, right? So as I stated at the beginning, we put it out there. We told them they need to use the bully pulpit. He is the head of the Democratic Party. So those two people are Democrats. So put the pressure on your friends and your foes. But also, I don't think we can just do it through the normal process of just sausage making, which is why it's important that we all do what we can to push and get the people. We need a movement about this. We need a real movement that will take place in this country, because at the end of the day, whatever we do, we won't get anything. We could get something short term if we're able to get some other kinds of legislation passed. But if we don't have the ability in 2022 to pick the candidates of choice, we are in trouble for a decade and longer, because some of us have lived long enough to know that, right? So we know it's an uphill battle, and that's why it's like we need all hands on deck, and we got to support each other, and we got to raise the hell that needs to be raised with our friends and our foes.
Dr. Johnetta B. Cole, Melanie Campbell, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Roland.
All right, y'all take care. Michael, I'll start with you. Here's the deal. I need to see Biden putting pressure on Sinema and Manchin. He's not. He's not. When he spoke in Tulsa, he said 2 senators. He wouldn't even name them. We knew he was talking about, but he wouldn't name them. And so here's the dilemma that these legacy civil rights organizations are going to have, and Cliff and Latasha with Black Voters Matter have talked about it. You're going to come back to black folks and ask for more? What argument can be made that you got control of the House, you got control of the Senate, You control the White House, and you still can't get a voting bill passed.
Roland, I'm going to try to be as respectful as I can. I saw press conferences yesterday. I saw interviews with people that were in the meeting, and I thought, I know I'm 50, and I think my hearing is going out, so I thought I ain't hear what I heard, but I got earbuds on right now. Listen to them. So I respect the sisters. I think we need less love vote and more Amistad slave revolt. First of all, I ain't hear anything about putting pressure on corporations that help finance cinema and Manchin, as well as the GOP. Okay, dude, this is, as I said like weeks ago, dude, we have to have an all-out 50-state economic guerrilla warfare push on this, man. This is serious. These people, the GOP, they're not playing. They're trying to take us not back to 1865. They're trying to take us back to 1890, the Mississippi State Constitution that instituted poll taxes and literacy tests that Johnetta B. Cole was talking about. That goes back to Mississippi, and other southern states started following. FEC.gov, brother, ProPublica, back in, I think, 2016, 2018, when Cindy Hyde-Smith was running for the Senate seat in Mississippi, ProPublica put out the information from the FEC.gov that talked about the Republicans who were being funded by corporations. Dude, that's public knowledge. Federal Elections Commission. We have to expose stuff like that, but also on cinema and Joe Manchin. Who are the corporations who are financing them? Notice how before today, now we know Toyota came out today and said they're not going to give any more money to Republicans who...
No. They announced they had stopped funding those who would not certify the election. Then they quietly begin to give money back. It wasn't until the Lincoln Project and other groups publicly outed them when they were like, okay, yeah, we're not going to give any money. But all of those companies who were making all of those cute public dropping press releases at the January 6th quietly have gone back to giving money.
Exactly. No, but I'm talking about the news that came out today about Toyota. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Dude, we're speaking the wrong language to these people. It ain't nothing. One of the things that Reverend William Barber is doing, and see, we got to expand this beyond just African Americans. This is people who don't vote for Democrats. This is young white people, white college students. This is Latinos. This ain't just a black thing. Dude, these people are, look, man, we need a Bumpy Johnson of politics to take these people's heads off. Politically, not figurative, not literally, politically. We're not doing anything that's going to scare them. This is what I'm saying. So the other thing is we have to educate the masses. I was speaking in Atlanta for the Juneteenth Festival. I did 2 presentations. I'm speaking to, I talked to 50 people, asked them questions. How many votes does it take to get a bill passed in the House of Representatives? Everybody wants reparations, but 9 out of 10 people can't tell you how to realistically get reparations. Okay, so we have to and lastly, I'll wrap up with this, brother, because this ain't my show. This is yours. June 1941, Executive Order 8802, President Franklin Roosevelt, which desegregated military jobs in the Department of Defense. He didn't do that out of the kindness of his own heart. He did that because A. Philip Randolph, president of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, put his foot up his ass and threatened to put 100,000 African Americans marching on Washington to embarrass Roosevelt after we voted for Roosevelt. See, that's pressure. This stuff here, man, they ain't scared of none of this stuff. The other thing is, one of the reasons why I think they're not talking about corporations, unfortunately, I understand, they get donations from corporations. But the hell with that, man. Look, we need less love, but more Amistad.
The thing here, Brittany, when you begin to look at in terms of what's happening, again, we know exactly why the For the People Act hasn't been passed. We know who the blocks are. And at the end of the day, President Biden is going to have to do more. What I mean by more? Easy. President Biden needs to go to Arizona and, yes, deliver a real hard-hitting speech on the issue of voting rights. after the Supreme Court decision, which was the Arizona case. He needs to not be afraid of Joe Manchin and go to West Virginia and look them broke-ass white folks in West Virginia in the eye and say, y'all are also being screwed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Roland. So many important points have been made. First and foremost, Sinema and Manchin are full of it. And I think Michael is also absolutely correct. We have to hold them and their supporters, including those corporations, accountable. And we know that this whole, they're hiding behind this notion of bipartisanship, but we know bipartisanship ain't a thing. Republicans don't give a damn about bipartisanship. Democrats need to grow a backbone, including Joe Biden, like you said, and get his hands really wet to do something about this, because this isn't just affecting Black folks. This is affecting everyone. Like you said, it's the poor white folks in Arizona. It's our Native American brothers and sisters. You know, I'm thinking about the folks who are living on reservations and tribal communities, which are located up to 20 miles from the assigned polling places, you know, where they're going to get hit hard. Everyone there doesn't have transportation or residential mail service. You know, the things that are being put forth are unfortunate. They're going to hit our democracy hard, and it's going to literally affect all of us, and we don't have a lot of time. So you're absolutely right, Roland. Biden needs to do way more, and especially in Arizona.
Candace, it's real easy to tell civil rights groups, to tell Black Voters Matter, to tell Until Freedom and others, hey, we need you to do more. No, I need y'all to do more. And the point that Michael makes, I said that several years ago during a CBC forum where Sherilyn Ifill was on the panel, NAACP, Legal Defense Fund, Kristen Clark, then with the Lawyers Committee, the Secretary of State of California. I said to all of them, I said, y'all got to talk to the white folks too. Young white voters need to understand they're targeting you.
Listen, let's go back to George Floyd, right? When we think about the young white people who hit the streets in addition to the Black people in order to have this groundswell of a movement that we never thought would happen in terms of police officers turning in the courtroom against each other, that's what we're talking about now. We have to have that same hope and faith that we did when people hit the streets like that. Like Melanie said, we have to start a movement that's just as important as the movements that we've seen for this past year, because the Supreme Court has already made it very hard for us to fight voter suppression. So we have to go to the states, like you said. Joe Biden has to go to regular, basic politics. Go to the person, speak with them, sit with them, go to their state and ask them and inform them about things that they might be wrong about. That's really what politics is. Just talking with people, negotiating, figuring out where we're going to have a meeting on the minds if you're far too left and I'm far too right. So you are right. There are some solutions, but today I'm not sure if we heard that was what came out of the meeting. Also, where's this $25 million going? What exactly is it going to do that Kamala Harris talked about in terms of informing people, educating people, and making sure that voters' rights are not suppressed? What's going to happen with that money? That could help start this groundswell of a movement that Melanie was talking about that we need to shed light, to bring attention to these facts, to let them know that just as important as it was for you to get on the streets and march in terms of George Floyd and justice in the criminal justice system, it's just as important when we talk about voting rights. You know, you talked about the Supreme Court case. A couple of people have talked about it on this panel. And I'm going to quote Justice Elena Kagan in her dissent in that 6-3 decision having to do with the Supreme Court and Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. You know, it's good that we have the Voting Rights Act on one hand, but it's bad that we still have to have it and have to go ahead and validate it again.
Back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Racial injustice is a scourge on this nation, and the Black community has felt it for generations. We have an obligation to do something about it. Whether it's canceling student debt, increasing the minimum wage, or investing in Black-owned businesses, the Black community deserves so much better. I'm Nina Turner, and I'm running for Congress to do something about it.